Hello, my name's Sue and I work at Wisbeach Library, and today I'm going to show you a couple of craft ideas using paper plates. So the first thing that I have is a seahorse, and he just uses 2 paper plates. You need a googly eye and some paint or wax crayons and some felt tips. I'll go through the whole procedure in a minute. And my other idea here is a peacock, or you could have any kind of bird really, but I've gone for a peacock here, and this one has 3 paper plates and some googly eyes and a little bit of card. So we'll start off first with the seahorse. So the first thing you need to do is you take a paper plate and you just need to draw in a couple of little semicircles each side, which gives you the shape of the seahorse head. So you cut those out and you end up with 2 bits like that, which you need to hold on to because they will become the fins of the seahorse. That's the shape that you're left with, like that. Looks a bit funny at the moment, but when you come to put it on the body, it will look like a seahorse. And then the next thing you need with the other plate, I've just used small paper plates here, but if you want to make a bigger one, you could just use larger paper plates. Just keep it in proportion really. This is for the tail, so you just cut out a tail shape. Again, just draw it in and then cut it out like that, like I've drawn it in here, and then you just cut it out. So then you've got, the only other thing you need is a strip of cardboard, some quite stiff cardboard if you have it. It could be a cardboard box, a bit of cardboard box. No one's going to see it because it's going to be behind the unicorn, but it's just to attach the head with when you get to that part. So when you've got all your components, the head, the body, the body is just a paper plate, no cutting or anything. The head, the 2 fins and the tail. And once you've got all those pieces, spread them out and either paint them if you've got some paint, or you could use wax crayons. They're good for covering areas. Felt tips, crayons, whatever you like to use. I use paint on mine. I made a sort of turquoisey green colour by mixing green and blue together. And then once the paint's dry, you can add your little decorations. I use the ridges that are in the paper plate as a guide, and then I just coloured in every other one. I just use felt tip pens, and then I added some other colour here with these dots just to give him a slightly more of a look. Then you come to put it all together. So this is where the piece of card comes in. On the back of the body piece here, you're going to stick this piece of card. I use double-sided tape. If you've got some nice strong glue, you could use glue, or you could just put sellotape across. It's just that you want it to make sure it's not going to come apart. So you stick that onto your piece of card. Once that's stuck, that's when you attach the head. So you've got your piece of card like that, and then you have to attach your head to the card at just at a slight angle, maybe just overlap it a little bit like that, and just tip it around so you get that sort of seahorse shape. So that's the head and the body, and then the fins, you stick one coming from behind the paper plate body, and then the little one in front like that. Again, you can use glue or double-sided tape, whatever you're happier using. And then the last thing to stick on is the tail, which again goes just behind, so they stick on the back like that. And there you have it. You have a seahorse. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the eye. Whoops. I cut out a piece of yellow card, just slightly bigger than the eye, just to give it a bit of highlight. And then I stuck the eye on there. So that's it. That is finished now. Mustn't forget the eyes, must we? And then the other one that I have done here is the peacock. The peacock takes two large and one small plate. You need a little bit of card. I've used yellow to make its feet, a little bit for its nose, a couple of eyes. If you haven't got googly eyes, just draw them on, or draw them onto a piece of white paper with a black circle in the middle and cut them out and stick them on. And then these bits here are just yellow card that I've made circles of red and a little bit, you can't really see it here, a little bit of green there, just to give that peacock effect that their feathers have. I painted the back plate, which is the first thing you need to do. You get your components together. So you take your big plate like this, and you see that I've drawn a line across there. You take your scissors and just cut the bottom off like that, so you end up with that shape, and that's the back of the peacock where you will attach the feathers, and that and this piece I painted the same colour. Now this piece here is using a smaller plate. Don't have to do any cutting this time. You just fold it each side like this. So you fold it and fold it, so you get a point. It doesn't have to be pointy like that. And then just stick that down with a piece of sellotape, glue. Sellotape's probably better because it will keep it together. And you've ended up with this sort of shape like that. So that piece and that piece I painted a sort of it doesn't really show up quite so well here, but it's a slightly different colour to these. So I made a turquoise colour with blue and green. When I came to do the feathers, I added a bit more blue, so you just got a slightly different shade. You can probably just about see that there, but you could do it any colour you like. You might want to give it red feathers, make it look better, you know, with something different. You could have a yellow background and green feathers. It's entirely up to you. So once you've done all your painting again, then it's time to start putting things together. Oh, sorry, I've missed a bit out. Sorry, I should have told you about the doing the feathers. So that's the other big plate. So you mark a line across the bottom there, and then if you find the halfway point there and just draw segments like that. I think I ended up with about 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. And cut them all out, so you end up with a shape. You keep going like this, so that you end up with all of them all around from there, and then you've got them so that they all sort of match. And when you go to stick them on, you just leave a little gap in between, so that's how you get the feather effect. And you just stick them all on, so the behind the body of the bird, all the points come together. I stuck all mine down with a piece of sellotape, and then I used glue just to stick the top of the feathers to the other plate like that. And once they're all in place, then you can stick your body on, and that just goes sort of the halfway mark like that. That's that bit. Then you need to get some card. I mean, it doesn't have to be yellow, but I chose yellow. And you draw out a semicircle like that. You can see just about see it there, and a little triangle for the beak. So you cut those out like that. Triangle goes on for the nose, and what you do with the semicircle is you just stick it onto the back, but keeping the two corners here sticking out, so that it ends up looking like feet. And then the last thing here to stick on are the two eyes. As I said, you could draw them and cut them out and stick them on if you haven't got googly eyes. And then I stuck on my little decorations. Again, I cut circles out, coloured them in with felt tips, and cut them and put them on to the wings there. And then I just added some felt tip colouring here. I mean, there's so many different things you could make with these. You could make different birds. You could make a teddy bear, which is quite easy to do with a big plate and a small plate. Stick them on like that. Give it some arms each and some legs. Maybe give it a scarf so you don't see the join. Paint it all brown, and you've got a bear. Or you could do black and white, and you've got a panda. Yeah, plenty of ideas. I'm sure I shall show you some more another time, but for now, let's hope you enjoy those. Okay, see you soon. Bye.